Well, hello, everybody. Thanks to everybody for popping in tonight. Thanks for joining us. This is the second of our three-part series that takes place throughout the month of January, brought to you by Notary Stars. My name is Beth Hathoot, and tonight we're joined by Mr. Scott Keller with Notary Act. Scott is the Director of Sales and Business Development, and he joined Notary Act in 2019. The company was founded in 2012, and it is headquartered in New York. Mr. Keller is a commissioned notary for the states of Oregon and Washington and has degrees in speech communications and a master's in education. Notary Act is an electronic journaling system designed to replace your paper journal with smartphone and web-based applications. In Scott's presentation, he's going to be showing us a series of short videos, and we'll be taking questions at the end of those video segments. So get your hands up as you think of questions that you'd like to ask, or type them in the chat. And Ronnie and I will both be here to help you manage those questions in the chat. So just let us know when you're ready for those. Take it away, Mr. Keller. Oh, Scott, you need to unmute it.
So I guess that would work better, wouldn't it? Okay, well, the first thing that I wanted to say is thank you for being representatives of your state governments and going out and doing notary work. I've been a notary since 2001, and I understand the complexity of what we do every day. And one of the things that I'm really committed to is making sure that I'm providing a platform that is usable, that's going to make you more efficient, more professional, and it's going to save you a huge amount of time. There's a lot of issues that are going on, where you're having to put your packets together, get out to do your work. And the idea is the more efficient you are, the more work you're going to be able to do. And the more work you're able to do, that's going to raise how much money you earn every month. So with that in mind, I wanted to ask if you could in the chat, please do one thing here for the next minute or so. Could you please write down two things that really are of concern to you when you're filling out your journal? What are some things that you always think of when you're filling out the journal? What are your concerns? What are, just type in the chat a couple things that, again, when you're doing the notary work and you're filling out your journals, what are some of the things that concern you? Okay, somebody said bad writing. Okay, mistakes, right? Did I miss anything? Okay, good. Completing an entry, perfect. Now everybody able to do this. It makes my presentation even better if I know some of the things that are concerning you. Now, in your states, every state is different, but how many of you know exactly what your states require that you have to fill out in your journal? So just think about that. Do you know? And if you don't, check your state handbook, because it's going to say specifically in the state handbook that these are the things that you need to make sure that are in your journal. Okay. And that's very important. Beth, you're nodding your head because I know that this is something that you talk about a lot. So one of the things that's going to happen today is, yes, I'm going to be talking about Notary Act, but what I'm also going to be doing is I'm going to be talking about specific things that are going to make your job easier if, number one, you're ever contacted by a lawyer, the Secretary of State, or a judge about work that you've done. So this is something that's really important. In the presentations that I've made in the past, one of the things that notaries are always concerned about is what happens if my journal gets damaged or if I lose it. A lot of people talk about that. So let's go ahead, Beth, if you could, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Beth run a video with a sample entry, and I just want you to watch it. And the reason why I do this is because when I go through and I do this, a lot of times my internet sometimes will go out. So Beth, if you could please go ahead and run the sample entry video, that'd be great. And make sure you turn your volume up. Welcome to Notary Act. Today we're going to do a sample entry. I'm going to select new entry, button in the middle, scan ID to pre-fill, and we're going to scan the barcode in the back of the driver's license. Look how quick that is. And identify the ID type as driver's license grantor because we're doing an estate plan, ID number, issue date, expiration date, ID picture. If your state allows that, you can take a picture of it. If you don't want the ID number, you don't need to select it. Signature. Using a stylus will allow you great control in their signature, but fingertip is okay. And then satisfactory evidence of identity. I'm selecting driver's license, front and back, has a picture, physical description, all that other neat stuff. You can add multiple signers, witnesses, otherwise. We're going to slide to Notarial Act. We're going to enter the location. And one of the things to remember is this location can be redone at any time when you're editing. If this is a draft, just know that when you open up a draft that you've created, the date and time will automatically repopulate. We're going to do an estate plan will. Got that taken care of. Sliding to the document, we're going to go up to add document package. I've created an estate plan will package, and that is going to pre-populate all of the documents necessary. Will, we're going to select the date, and then we're going to go down to document number 2. We're going to identify the date. It's not required here, but I do it just because it's best practice. Identifying the date again, and we're there. Transfer on death deed. So now we're going to go to the job details, the company, notary dash, enter my fee is $75. My order number is that. Number of stamps total, we're going to do 8. And now we're going to slide from right to left to the comment section. Don't have anything there, so we're going to do preview. Take a look at everything here, make sure the information is correct. When you check the front of the driver's license, you want to make sure that the information matches between the front of the driver's license and what's collected. And we're all ready to go. And the next thing would be to submit the entry, and then you are done. And AES 256 encryption. And when you submit, everything's encrypted from your phone to your individual portal. Have a great day. Thank you. Okay, so Beth, what I'd like to do is just quickly take a, I'm going to go ahead and I just want to ask if there's people that have a question, Beth, because again, this is a sample entry. I just saw the question from somebody in California. What about fingerprints? There is an area in Notary Act where you can take a picture of a fingerprint image. So you have an ink pad, you roll their finger, and you can take a picture of that. Yes.
You also have another one in the chat, Scott, where Kelly's asking, does the journal keep the ID that was taken?
Yes, you can choose. You can choose whether you want that required or not. One of the things that a lot of notaries have to deal with is the Patriot Act form, and a lot of signing services require a copy of the driver's license. When we take when a picture is taken within our app, it's watermarked, so there's no way that it can be used as a real ID just because of the way that it's saved. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so let me ask Mary Beth, if a driver's license has an old address on it, it's your job to decide what you want to use. Some states say that it needs to be a physical address. Others, it can be a mailing address. It's up to you to decide. What I'm going to say is that when you scan the ID on the barcode, what that's going to do is, if it all populates correctly within the app, that is a way to help with fraud prevention. Because if that information doesn't come in correctly, you know that there's an issue. If you want to change it, yes, you can. But again, you know, you have to have some way of verifying. Is it a letter from a utility company, or whatever? There needs to be some way to verify that. Okay. So the one question that I'm going to say to Mila is, no, we do not connect with third-party verification. It's not the same as Ron, where you have KBA and you also have the ID verification. Ours is a standalone platform, so we do not connect with other databases. Okay. Yes, and our barcode scan is working. David, yes, it should work just fine. You can get a hold of me, and we can work through this, but the Pro Max issue has been taken care of.
So David, have you worked on this platform before and found it to be a problem, or was that with another software? Let's try this.
No, actually, I can answer the question, David.
But no,
Oh, go ahead.
he was trying to talk. He was muted. I'm sorry, Scott.
Nope.
I had spoken to Scott. We had an issue with the iPhone 15 Pro Max on the Florida licenses. I was trying it and trying it. I actually gave up because he got it to work on his phone, but I couldn't get it to work with the Florida licenses. Maybe with New York it worked, but with Florida, I just stopped trying.
Okay.
Right. So what happened was there was an issue with the Pro Max, Beth, and that's been solved. There's 3 cameras on it, and there was an autofocus issue, and that has been solved. It's been solved for probably 3 months, 4 months. So one of the things that we do really well, I believe, is in responding to issues that may come up. And again, it's a software app. Okay.
Oh, one question in the gallery from Nancy Fouché. Nancy, if you want to go ahead and unmute and ask your question. You are not muted, but we can't hear you.
It's because my microphone was off. Sorry.
There we go.
I'm on the same area there with David. Several months ago, maybe 6, 8 months ago, I had an iPhone 12. I'm in Florida, and I did the free version, you know, try it and see if you like it before you buy it. Yep. And I could not. I tried it at home. I tried it everywhere. I could not get it to scan the ID, so I gave up. So
well, that's okay. Right. And so it's been fixed.
Okay.
It's been fixed, yes.
So I mean, if I look on there, I mean, I have like one thing that I put on there as I was playing with it at home.
Yep.
Would I be able to sign up again for the free version so I can actually try it?
Yes. Right. So what both you and David need to do is uninstall and reinstall the app, and then go ahead and restate the trial. And I'm happy to work with you guys on that 100%. It took about a month and a half to 2 months for us to figure out the coding to make it work, because going against Apple is a tough thing.
Yeah. And now I'm on the 15 Pro. So
right. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Back to the chat, David. Mary Beth says, how would I turn this into the Secretary of State if I ever stop being a notary? So do you have the ability to offload those records and or print a hard copy?
Yep. All of your entries can be downloaded via PDF by date range. Or if a specific record is needed, you can just type in their last name and it'll show up perfectly. And then you can send it off. You can also run it through Excel. And that's another thing. Yes.
Perfect. Well, we're getting lots of questions for you here.
Here's another. I'm fine.
If I scan ID on my phone, does it immediately sync to my iPad, which would use for the rest of the session info?
What I'm going to say is that we have cross-platform compatibility. It might not be immediate, but it will be available to use right away. I mean, if you're using an iPad, if you use that for your closing, it's going to show up on the iPad right away. There may be some lag, but once you submit the entry, you can access it from any platform, your desktop, iPad, or iPhone. Okay.
All righty. And I think here's one such a great idea. I would much rather make entries electronically and look forward to trying this. That's from Kimberly. So good, Kimberly. There's a trial he has available for you so you can check it out. There was something
Okay, so
else.
Beth, there's a question here that I'm gonna answer, and it comes up. How are you different than Jurat? Jurat is another platform that's out there. Our platform that we have is 100% customizable by you, the user. You don't have any real, there's no walls, and it can be defined very well. We have functionality in our app that is not available in any other online app. And I'm going to show some of that to you guys here in just a little bit. Okay.
Mr. Scott, there was one question I really liked, and maybe we did say it, but I was also trying to show videos. So it says, if I stop being a notary using the journal, how long do you keep your storage and the journal entries?
At this time right now, there is no limit to that time.
Okay.
In our user agreement, it says 90 days. But what I will tell you is that as of right now, there is no limit. Most states like Oregon or Washington say 7 or 10 years. We don't delete anything from your individual portal. So if you called us up 5 years down the road saying, hey, you know, I was using the app and I want to be able to access my records, we'll give you access for like 2 weeks or whatever. Was that Ronnie that was asking that question, Beth?
Yep, sure was.
Okay. Yep. All right.
And he
Cool.
found himself muted again. So Mila asked a question, and I think it's probably state specific. Mila says, has there been any pushback from any Secretary of State regarding turning in PDFs of EJournals versus hard copy journals? She said she read on a forum a few years ago. Well, there's a clue right there. A few years ago, things have changed so much in just a couple of years. One SOS said the only usable one is a hard copy journal. So what state are you in first, Mila? Can you tell us that? You can unmute now and let us know. If you'll put your hand up, I can give you permission to unmute. Can't find you in the crowd right now.
Now, again, also, go ahead.
I am in Illinois.
Okay.
Right. Great. You're in Illinois. So what I'm going to tell you is in Illinois, yes, you can use an electronic notary journal. In Illinois, there's certain specific information that you have to gather. Part of it is the name and the name of the document and type of notarization. But in Illinois, both paper and electronic journals are acceptable. And you can see that in the handbook or also the new changes that just came effective here this summer. I think it was in August. So we have, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask Mila if that helped answer her question.
Yeah, that helps. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. All righty. One more before we get on to your next presentation. Your next video just says, are you approved in all states that are approved for electronic journals?
Not all states accept electronic journals. And so if anybody has specific questions about that, they're happy to email me and I can respond to that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So go ahead.
if you are ready, we'll click on the next video.
Right. So yes, let's go on to the next two videos. Let's go to the next one. Yes, please. Roles that people play in every one of your assignments, I believe, is very important. And so what I'd like to do is show you in Notary Act how to identify the roles that people play in your assignment. So we're at the main user interface. Let's select the three dashes in the upper left-hand corner. We're going to go down to settings. And once that we're in settings, you see that there's the signer category. We're going to select the down arrow to the right of signer. Okay. And then we're going to come down here to ID type. We're going to select the box with the pencil in it to add a custom option. Okay, so we have credible witness, we got driver's license, borrower, driver's license, grantor, driver's license dash non-borrower. And what I'm going to do is down at the bottom here, I'm going to add another option. I'm going to add driver's license dash witness. Okay, Beth, go ahead and stop the video for just a second. So one of the things that I wanted to mention to everybody, I don't know of any other platform, and Ronnie, you can chime in if you want to. I don't know of any other platform that allows you to identify the role a signer plays in your assignments, because in 5 years, David, are you going to remember who did what in the signing 5 years down the road? Probably not. And this is a perfect way to identify what people do, whether they're a grantor, a borrower, a non-borrower, a POA, or a credible witness. This is all amazingly important. So we're not going to go through the whole video, but I'm going to say that this is just a huge thing to keep in mind. Okay, Beth? So we're not going to play the whole video, but what I want to do is I want to do the satisfactory evidence of identity next, okay? I want to show you today an absolutely fabulous field that we now have in Notary Act that nobody else in the industry has. And I want to go ahead and I want to identify it in a sample entry. So we're going to select the new entry button, and I'm going to scan the ID to pre-fill, and I'm going to go ahead and scan the barcode and the driver's license. We got all that information. We're going to identify the individual as the grantor. Okay, we're going to do an ID picture. Okay, and then the last thing that I want to show you here, which is, I believe, for any notary vitally important, is look at this. Do you see it where it says satisfactory evidence of identity? Okay, can you stop the video for just a second, Beth? Our pen. Okay, so one of the things that I wanted to make sure that everybody understands is your number one job as a notary is to make sure that you can positively identify the signer that's in front of you. Okay. Some states like New York are very specific on what you need to do, that you need to actually show the procedure that you use. And so what I'm going to say is that with this satisfactory evidence of identity, it's going to document the procedure. So what you're going to see in just a minute is you're going to select driver's license, meaning you've checked the front and the back of the driver's license. It has a photo, a physical description. It has a signature on it. It's valid. But additionally, you can add in here, this is something that you have to add yourself, that the signer was aware, they weren't, heavily medicated or intoxicated, that they were willing to sign the document, meaning that they're not coerced by somebody else, and that they also understand the nature of the document that they're signing. And almost every state, even if they don't require a journal, says you have to have satisfactory evidence of identity. This, to me, is just absolutely amazing. It's something that I haven't seen anybody else have offered. And so let's go ahead with this, Beth, and we'll finish the video. our paper or anything, we need to be able to verify the individual who's in front of us. And so in this case, I'm going to select the driver's license where I've checked the front and the back of the driver's license, that it has a picture, a physical description, it has a signature, and it's valid. But additionally, I'm evaluating the ability of the signer in front of me, that they're aware of what's going on, that they're willing to sign the document, that they're not being coerced, and that they understand the nature of the document. The other two choices that I have in here is if I'm doing RON work, it goes through the identity authentication, knowledge-based assessment, that again, I'm evaluating the signer's awareness, their willingness, their understanding the nature of the document. Signer ID for, say, like a military ID, checking the front and the back, it has a picture, it has a signature, and it's valid. And again, they're aware, willing, and they understand the nature of the document. So in this case, Hey, could I'm you going to pause select that? driver's Go ahead license, and pause it, Matt.
front and back.
Okay, so what I want to do is I want to stop and I want to allow people to talk a little bit about this. And is this something that you're pretty excited about? I'm seeing Angela sort of nod her head. Hey, Angela, where are you in Oregon? So I just wanted to say that this to me is a big issue. And okay, that's right. You can't, right. We can't scan or copy military IDs. That is correct. But you can identify in satisfactory evidence of identity that you've done what you need to do. Okay. So I'm not seeing all the chats. Beth, is there anybody out there that wants to talk about the satisfactory evidence of identity at all? Anybody raising their hand?
I don't see. I've got one question.
Okay.
It wants to know if they can fill it out manually without scanning the ID.
Well, okay, so let's talk about this. Yes, you can, but all you're doing is you're scanning the barcode on the back of the driver's license. You're not, and so that just allows you to collect their information very quickly with no errors, by the way. Does that answer their question? So yes, you can do it manually. You can. Yes.
Yeah, I think they're confusing being scanning the barcode on the back and scanning it as a photograph. So I think it was in reference to that military ID. And
Correct.
you guys, you can raise your hand and let me know if I'm getting this wrong. But that question, I think, was directed at a military ID. We can't take a photo or scan it. But we can record all of the information on it. So to scan a barcode on a military ID, if there's one that's usable, some of the older ones and some of the ones that are the retired military IDs don't have barcodes on them. So yeah, you still have to manually enter them.
Right. So the other thing that I wanted to add to this as well, Beth, is the fact that we have the capability in Notary Act for you to also add in your RON signings as well. So just to give you an example, if somebody's doing a RON signing, you can get a clear view on the screen. You can scan the barcode off that and it'll go directly into Notary Act. And then there's an area also in Notary Act in the job details category where you can take a picture of the RON audit log. And if any of you do the stuff in RON, you know that at the end there is an audit log, and so you can take a picture of that and you can add it into Notary Act in the job details category. Okay. One last thing that I wanted to mention, and then we're going to do the last video here, is that when you have a drop-off receipt, so let's go ahead and let's say, David, when was the last time you had a drop-off receipt for a refinance? Just raise your hand if you had one lately. If you didn't, okay, you're shaking your head. Angela, how about you? Raise your hand if you had a drop-off receipt lately. Nope. Okay, so anybody that does a refinance that you're having to send something back via UPS or FedEx, you can take a picture of that drop-off receipt, upload it to your online storage, copy the link, and after you've submitted your entry in Notary Act, you can add that in the notes section. So you have that link for the drop-off receipt if you ever need to access that. So
Oh, that's
just
good.
extra little thing there.
So you got a picture of it and the tracking number? Is that what you're saying, Scott?
Right. So you take a picture of the drop-off receipt,
Mm-hmm.
and then you copy the link in your online storage area, and then when you copy that link, you put it in the notes section of your entry.
Guys,
And
that could
allows
be,
you.
yeah, that could be a really big safety net for you because
Oh, it's huge. It's huge.
we know we need to keep those dropper receipts, and sometimes for a very long time.
Right.
And not just the tracking number, but the date and the time that the
100%.
documents were dropped becomes vitally important if they're looking for them. So, yeah, that's a big deal. Like that idea.
Okay, now Susan just said, can you show how to do that? Well, yes, I can show you how to do it. But let's go ahead and do this. I'll try and remember that. If not, I'll get a hold of Susan. But the bottom line is, there is this is just, everybody's asking, well, how are you different than other people? We've done so many things in our app over the last year that I would say that we probably, because we've been in business for 10 years, this is something we work really hard on. We want to provide you with the tools. We want to be part of your success team. So we can continue on with this video, but really what this is doing, Beth, I think we're going to go ahead and stop with this because it's giving people an idea. And everybody got an email with these videos. So if you want to review them, that's fine. If you want to ask, how do you do the link portion of it, I can show you how to do that, hopefully here in a couple minutes. All right.
Nancy Fauchet's had her hand up for quite a little bit, and I'm wondering if Nancy, do you have a question on satisfactory evidence of ID?
Okay, yeah. So when you scan the back of the ID and it auto-populates the address that's on the ID, if they have recently moved, can I back that up and change the address to their current address?
Yes, you can, but I would, right. But here's the caution. If they don't have something that shows what their new address is, that's something you need to think about. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean, if you have verification that they're at a new address, that's okay. But it would need to be something like, I don't know, a utility bill.
Okay.
That has their name on it.
Right.
Or some type of official documentation.
Right. But if I have that, if their water bill, their new cable bill, or what have you, I can change it.
Yes, ma'am, you can. And what I'm saying to everybody, and you as well, Nancy, is that when you scan that barcode and the information that populates is the same, that's what you want to check first, because that's a fraud verification. It's not 100%. But that's what this is about. And I want to tell you two stories here. A friend of mine up in Seattle, he uses our app. He went to do a signing for somebody that had a refinance. And it was he and his wife, supposedly. He had a fake ID. It didn't populate correctly. And he says, I need some secondary information. And set up a time to go and meet back with them. They never showed up. So he got a hold of the title company saying, this is what happened. Well, then he got another phone call from the same job, or excuse me, different job, same person. And he called the police to let them know that this was going on. And the police actually came in after he sat down with them, starting to do the paperwork. And they were actually convicted of fraud.
Wow.
So there's other things that have happened with some of our users where this has really helped in fraud prevention. And Beth and I were having this discussion the other day. 60 to 70% of all the mortgages out there are all done online. Nobody meets face to face, where 25 years ago, you had to go into your bank to talk to a loan officer. General notary work is, again, another area of concern where how are you making sure that the people are who they say they are? And one of a really good way is to use the barcode scanning in Notary Act. And that's something we've been using for a long time, and it works very well. And it's proved to be very, very helpful to our users.
Mr. Scott, do you ever run into issues? I haven't used it yet, and I definitely want to try it on my next notarization just to try it out for myself. And in Arizona, our IDs can go for 40, 50 years.
Yeah, I know.
Sometimes they can get pretty scratched up on the back. And
right.
I was just wondering, do you ever run into problems with the barcodes when they're like really, really old and not reading properly?
Sometimes that does happen. But again, it's up to you to sort of determine, Ronnie, whether, and I'm assuming I'm talking to Ronnie, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what I want to make sure is that, yes, sometimes there's a problem with it, but that hasn't been very often.
And then my question, I have a two-part question. So if it did happen, let's say that you had to go back to the paper version because it was a really damaged ID, can you manually enter that in?
Yes.
You have to keep a paper journal as well, or you just manually enter it in and say it wasn't make a note that it wasn't barcode or.
Right. So let me give you an example, Ronnie. So say you're going to do a loan signing or it's a husband and wife, and there's a statutory warranty deed that they're doing. And the husband's ID doesn't scan, but the wife has the same address and everything, right? So you can scan her barcode and then just change the first and second name. So again, it's just a way to save time, but it's a workaround because the information will be somewhat different when it comes to the name and address. And if you're collecting the ID number, that type of thing, that'll have to be changed. But again, that's something that you can do as a notary and decide whether that's going to work for you, but it's not going to happen very often.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay.
One more.
Any other questions?
Yeah, one more question in the gallery. Mila? Do you want to go ahead and unmute? There you go.
Yeah, hi, it's Mila. I guess my question, again, related to the satisfactory evidence part, the reason I asked is we cannot, for Illinois, it's fairly new. It's a law about biometrics, etc. But we cannot have the driver's license number, personal address, etc. recorded in the journal. All I can put is that I verified the identity by U.S. driver's license or U.S. passport. So if I scan the barcode, it will populate the information. But can I go back and delete the address, delete the driver's license number, save time that way?
Yes, you can. And the way that the application is set up for everybody is it starts out with the first name, last name, and address, and then type of ID. If you want to add the ID number, if you want to add the expiration and issue date and date of birth, you can add that. That's up to you to add. If you don't want to take a picture, again, that ends up being a thing where you can turn that off as a requirement, and it's not required. And you're in Oregon, correct, Angela?
Oh, this is Mila, Illinois.
Oh, Mila, okay, yes. So Mila in Illinois, that's correct. And I apologize. I don't see you on here, and I didn't mean to. Angela,
No
I apologize. So in Chicago, in Illinois, you do the first name, last name. You don't have to have an address in there, but you have to have the city and the state.
Yes.
Okay. That's something when you scan the barcode, you can take the address out. Okay.
Right.
But what they're doing is they're saying this is the minimum, but you can't take the ID number of the driver's license. Okay. So just the minimum requirements are good. In New York, the minimum requirement there is that you can do your scan and everything. You go into the document category, and all you have to identify is that it's an acknowledgement, and you did 16 of them. That's all they require for the minimum. We have a way for you to also count the number of stamps that you have, because at the end of every year, you guys know that if you have 1,000 stamps, multiply that by what your state allows you to charge, which is $10. That means that $10,000 can be written off your self-employment income. So there is a way to track that in Notary Act. There's a way to track your mileage. You just have to type it in. There's a lot of really neat stuff. The videos that I have sent out to you already are, I believe, very, very helpful. And let's go ahead and do this, Beth, because I'm paying attention to what we're doing time-wise here too. Let's go ahead. What's the next video that I have in there, Beth?
It is creating multiple draft entries.
Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. But before we do that, I want to let you know that Notary Act allows you to have multiple draft entries. So if you have 5 assignments tomorrow, you can set everything up. And we're going to show that to you in just a second. But you can also create lists of commonly used documents like a refinance, where you can drop those in. And you saw that with the sample entry. Doesn't matter if it's 2 documents or 25 documents. They come in like a second. Last thing that I want to let everybody know is, how many of you use Jurat's where you are? Okay. Okay, so David, and I know you and I've talked about this before, where we go into the document area under type of notarization. And what I suggest to users who are in states where Jurat's happen, you can use Jurat-oath, Jurat-affirmation as a type, because 5 years down the road, Kimberly, are you going to remember if somebody had an oath or a Jurat? You're not. But this way, you're able to create an irrefutable electronic record of what you're doing. And that is worth, I don't know what it's worth. It's worth a lot. So let's go ahead and play this quickly. Welcome to another Notary Act tutorial video. Today I'm going to be talking about multiple draft entries. So today we're going to select the new entry button. And once we get there, I'm going to type in the individual's last name as Smith. And I know that I'm going to be doing this January 2nd of 24, because if it's a new year, I'm putting it in. Date. It's going to happen at 3 p.m. This is going to be a way, when I look at my drafts, I can identify the person's name, the date, and the time. Okay, we're going to say that this is going to go to Notarial Act. We're going to select the type, and it's general notary work. I don't know what kind of documents are going to be there, so I'm going to leave that blank, as well as job details. Hey, go ahead and stop that for just a second, Beth. I'm getting 85. Okay. So you noticed one of the things in job details is that you can select the company that you're doing your work for. We've got it pre-populated with about 12 different companies, but you can add your own. If you do title work, local title work, or law firms or anything like that, you can add those as custom options. Go ahead and keep playing it. I don't have the documents yet, so I can't do anything here, but that's fine. We're going to go to preview, and we're going to save it. Okay, so it's saved as a draft. Now we're going to come back here. We're going to do another draft. Okay, let's go ahead and pause that.
Identify this.
Now you can build as many drafts as you want, and I'm going to talk about pricing in just a minute. In the pricing structure, we have $49.99 annual, and that allows you to do one draft at a time. It does not allow you to create multiple draft entries or create document type packages. Our $99 package, our annual package, allows you to create up to 5 draft entries and create as many document type packages as you want. Our $149.99 package is unlimited. You can create as many drafts as you want. You can create as many document packages as you want. That's the same in the $99 and $149 per year. It's unlimited number of packages, but the difference between the $99.99 package and the $149 package is the $149 is unlimited. It also allows you other items there where there's some free setup in the $149, and you also have premium tech support as well. Okay, so we've talked about a lot of stuff. And I think, Beth, time-wise here, I'd like to open it up for questions, and I'm going to look at the chat as well. But let's, okay. So, and notary jobs are going to come to you. I noticed that this is very exciting. And yes, this is a great tool to have. So, Beth, I'm going to let you identify people if you want to bring them on, and I can chat with them. I think you're muted,
Betty
Beth.
made a comment that she said, when you get to the location, you just tap on the location and it populates that location into your journal. So when we think of recording the signer's name and address, we also need the location address. So that's an automatic tap the location button and it populates. Is that how that works,
So you're going
Scott?
to tap it, and then in if you're using iOS, you're going to say save in the upper right-hand corner, Android down the bottom, you're going to say select save, and it's done.
Mr. Scott, I just want to let everybody know, we do have, 10 minutes or so to go, but it never fails. Every presentation that we do, Beth and I will get a ton of calls tomorrow asking about features of the product. And we have the horse's mouth here for you to ask it yourself. Not that we don't love answering your questions or directing you to the right person.
No, listen, I'm on as long as you need, Ronnie.
I just want to make sure everybody here knows that this, that you can't get any more, up the chain at Notary Act here. So please, make sure if you have a question tonight, this is a safe environment. There are no dumb questions. The only dumb questions are the ones we don't ask. So if you have questions, please, while Mr. Scott's here, let's ask him. We have one hand raised now. Ms. Nancy, you want to ask Mr. Scott your question?
Yes, actually, I have 2 questions. Where we can take a picture of the drop receipt, which I do with every package I drop off. So if I take it on Notary Act, I can upload it, say, to signing order or SnapDocs from there.
Okay, so this is a 2-part question. Okay, so
Okay.
First thing is, if you're doing it with signing order, you're sending it to signing order. That's the first step. Second step is you have the drop-off receipt. You've written in the name of the signer. You've taken a picture of it, right?
Right.
You've uploaded it to signing order, but you're also going to upload it to your online storage.
Okay, so I take a picture, I
Online-
upload it to my assigning company, and then I upload it to Notary Act.
Well, no. So here's the thing. In the notes, it only will allow text. It won't allow images. So the way that we worked around that is, and I spent a lot of time working on this, Susan. How do we make it work? So you upload it to Google Pictures, right? What do you use for your online image storage?
I just keep them on my phone.
Okay, so let's say it's on your phone or whatever. I mean, it's if you're using an Apple product or Apple or Android.
Apple.
Okay, so you're going to be able to get an image. You're going to be able to get a link to that picture because it's going to the Apple cloud.
Okay.
Okay, you're going to copy that link and you're going to put it in the notes of the submitted entry. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's say Smith was, you're like looking at me like, Scott, what the heck are you talking about? What I'm going to do is Beth has my email, but I want to make sure that you understand. When you take a picture of the drop-off receipt, it goes to your online storage, not signing order, but it goes to your online, your Apple storage. Okay. When you go to Apple, your storage, you can actually copy the link to that image.
Oh, did not know
And
that.
then and you know what? I'll spend some time with you, but bottom line is you copy that link, and then in the notes of the submitted entry, you're going to add the link there. That way it's connected all the way across. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, but what happens? I mean, I don't keep these pictures on my phone forever of the receipts. I delete them.
So when you delete that from your online storage, then the link won't work.
Okay,
So the idea is that a lot of people, I would always keep mine in a paper bag in my car for like a month, and then I'd throw them away.
right.
Because, and again, every state's different, it's best practice. But for me, I want to keep that for at least 2 or 3 weeks if there's a problem. That protects me, but it's in my journal. And I will tell you that I have drop-off receipts from 5 years ago.
The center council of my car's receipts.
But guess what? Now it's not going to have to be. So that's the first question. Follow up to this. I'm happy to talk with you about it in further detail if need be. Second question.
Let
My
me
second-
make a quick comment on that before you go on, Nancy. I don't mean to interrupt you, but guys,
It's okay.
this is why we teach you not to take a copy or a photo of an ID at the table with your phone. Most of you don't even know that your pictures in your gallery on your phone don't stay there. They are uploaded to the cloud, either Apple Cloud or Verizon Cloud or Amazon Pictures. Those pictures of IDs, you don't want to compromise that personal information. So in that vein, if Nancy's taking a picture with a scan app, they're not going to go to the cloud, but they're also not just going to stay on her phone because she likes to delete them, which I think is a really good practice. So just be careful what you're taking with your camera on your phone, because it will get uploaded somewhere, even though you may not realize it. Okay.
And to add to that, Beth, we use AES 256 encryption. And when your personal information goes to your portal, the only person that can see it is you. Our level of security is higher than bank online security.
Yeah, if you're doing that within that app, it's the same way as a scan app, but there's a difference between recording that information inside of Notary Act and taking a picture of something with your phone. That's where I was going with that.
Right.
Okay, thank you. There's
So
one
your
more-
second question, Nancy?
So say I'm sitting here, I'm getting ready for tomorrow, and I create the drafts. So most of the work is done in there, and I save it, and the job cancels. Happens, unfortunately. Can I go in there and delete that draft?
You betcha.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay. That's all I needed to know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Perfect. Susan's been patiently waiting to have your attention, Scott. Go ahead, Susan.
Hey, Susan, go for
Hi,
it.
Scott.
Hi.
Okay, so I have an iPhone. I'm looking at my Photos app and I'm looking at a picture and I don't see any kind of link. Am I supposed to be looking elsewhere for this link?
You should be able to tap on it there should be an image. There should be a way to capture that link. I don't use Apple, but I use Android. And so when I go to my online storage, I can actually copy the link for it. But I also use Dropbox. And Dropbox, it's very easy to copy the image there. So that's what I use. I use Dropbox.
Okay, so then it would be easier if we upload our photos onto Dropbox. instead of trying
yeah.
to do it from a phone?
Right. So Susan, what I'm going to do is this. My email is here in the chat, and
Okay,
I'm not trying to, Beth and Ronnie, I'm not trying to collect emails, but go ahead and send me if you have specific questions and you don't want to bother Ronnie or Beth, email them to me. So Susan, please do that.
okay.
And Ronnie and Beth, if I get questions from people, is there a way to post the answers after this Zoom session?
That's a Ronnie question.
Ronnie?
Yes, so we have a place for you on the site under resources. If you wanted to send them, it would be best if, we kind of wait until the smoke clears and get them all. If you wanted
Sure.
to post, send us, any questions and answers that you might have, we could create like a downloadable takeaway
Cool.
to go with the presentation and just, call it after the session, like Oprah's after the session,
The after party.
after the show,
Party.
after the show with Scott.
Right. And Ronnie, there's another thing that, I know we've got quite a few folks on today. And if people want to come back later on, it's up to you as to how you want to do that. But I'm happy to do any kind of follow-up that people need.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Deb, do you have any questions? No, she's shaking her head. Anybody else? Oh, okay. So, actually, Beth, if you could, can I share my screen quickly?
Sure, you should be able to hit share.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
You
Let
have
me
the
check
chat
here.
co-host power.
I have the co-post Howa. Well, I'm looking here to see if I have.
Should be right at the bottom of your screen, Scott. A nice
Yeah,
big green
got it here.
button.
Okay, so can you see that, folks? Here's the
Yeah,
here's the pricing module. So we do it monthly as well, but the way it works is if you pay for basically you're paying for 10 months and you're getting 2 months for free with the $49.99, the $99.99, or $149.99. So otherwise you're paying $4.99 a month or $9.99 and $14.99. So we make it so it's easy for you. And you will also see that the customer service, and that's what I run. Alex is our lead programmer and Lee is the CEO of the company, but I end up being the voice of Notary Act. So I don't have a problem with that. So any other questions, folks?
Scott,
If
it
you
looks
don't-
like the chat is clear.
Okay. So my email is scottplus.ns@notaryact.com. The NS is designating that you were here at this Zoom call. And please go ahead and sign up for a 30-day free trial. Send me any questions that you have. And Susan, I know that you've probably already done that. And David, same thing for you. And Angela, I'm glad to see somebody from Oregon. Other than that, I guess we're in good shape. Is there a way, Beth and Ronnie, with the chat, can I get a copy of that? So if I've missed any questions, I can respond to you and then you can send them out to the folks.
For everybody who is in the session right now, if you'll go to the top of your chat box, there's 3 dots there. Click on the 3 dots and choose to save chat. When you exit out of the session, a window should pop up, and I don't know how it is on Mac, so don't ask me about Mac. A window should pop up when you exit the session, and it'll be essentially in Notepad, and you can access it there and download it and save it.
So I'm looking at mine and it says mute audio, video, blur my background. It doesn't say anything about save chat.
It's on the chat box.
You have to open chat, yeah.
So if you click on the actual chat and see that white box come up.
Oh, I got you. I got you. Okay. Okay.
And they
Show
moved
chat
it recently.
previews.
They moved it recently because we used to say go to the bottom and download the chat, and Beth just showed me where it's at because I was like, they took it away.
They keep
So,
moving
okay.
stuff around on us.
Yeah, it looks like I'm only able to do one. But
One,
if you could, Beth, do that for me and just send it to me, that'd be awesome.
one what? One
Uh,
what, Scott?
One, it looks like when I see Ronnie's thing here, there's 3 dots. It says copy, but can I copy all of them?
Oh, no, not on the individual response in the chat, but at the very top of that, it should say Notary Act Presents to Notary Stars on their EJournal or something similar. That's the top of the chat box. Don't worry about it, Scott. I'll download it and save it for you.
Even though I know the app really well, I am technologically inept sometimes.
Okay. So
okay.
you have one last question before we go, and it's from David Merrick. He says, is there any discounts for Notary Stars members?
What I'm going to say is that if you sign up for the app and you sign up for an annual license, I will add. I'm going to add 2 extra months to your annual subscription. Right now we have a discount already, but I will add extra months to your subscription for the first year. Happy to do that.
And we do have to ask Mr. Scott because, you know, this goes into our users, the people that could make it tonight came, but there's, you know, a lot of people on the website when they watch this replay, are they going to be subject to that as well?
All they got it. They've just got to sign up through the link that's on the website, because that's the only way I'm going to be able to tell.
Okay.
So if they use the 30-day free trial, and they sign up with your web link, yes.
Yeah. And I think Nancy, that answers your question in the chat. Mr. Scott, I'm going to ask if you could unshare your screen for a moment, and I'm going to ask everybody here since we have a guest in the house. We always like to thank our guests for being here by turning on our cameras and showing our faces. I'd love to
just a
gallery.
second. I'll unmute this. Stop the share. I'm stopping the share. And if you could take a picture of all the faces, I can post it on our website too.
Yes, and what we like to do here at Notary Stars is ask everybody if you are not naked or you're not stuffing your face at the moment. It's okay if you're cooking dinner, doing what you're doing, but please, let's turn on those cameras. We have a guest in the house tonight. We would like to give Mr. Scott our signature way to thank him for being here and taking time out of his day to present to us and tell us about his product. Let's get those hands waving, everybody. And Miss Beth, how do we say it here at Notary Stars?
You guys, everybody knows that we're all in the same storm, but we're not in the same boat. Some of us are in yachts, some of us are in canoes, and some of us are still dog paddling. So please just be kind. Remember to reach back and grab a hand of another notary and take them along that journey with you. Show them the way. Everybody have a good evening. Thanks for being here, guys.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks. Ronnie, I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Okay, guys. Bye.
Good night.